Now, we've got to be honest with you. There are some things about your fairy tale that just don't add up. We know you do everything you can to help your friends and save your kingdom, but sometimes you do the impossible without offering valid explanations. It's not just you, though. Everyone in Auradon seems to march to the beat of their own drum. Now, we're hoping you can clear up some questions we have about the 3 Descendants films. Kenny Ortega did a great job directing the 3 Descendants movies, but there are some plot holes that we just can't ignore.
Hey! I'm me again!
Watch until the end to find out how Audrey's evil rampage could have been avoided. Dizzy's Royal Invitation. Dizzy Tremaine is one of a kind. She's talented, trendy, and super sweet, which is why she was basically made for Auradon. Evie saw Dizzy's potential from a mile away and asked King Ben to invite her to Auradon Prep at the end of Descendants 2.
We'd love you to join us to Auradon Prep. Will you come? Signed, King Ben.
So we were more than a little confused when she received a second invitation at the beginning of D3. What made things even more confusing was that Dizzy seemed surprised when Evie picked her. Maleficent crosses the barrier. The Isle of the Lost is a simple place where nothing really happens. There's no Wi-Fi, magic, or Netflix, so things can get a little boring. The barrier surrounding the isle is designed to keep magic out. It immediately disables magic, and we saw proof of this when old hag Mal crossed the barrier and became young again.
Hey! I'm me again!
So why didn't Maleficent the lizard shed her amphibian skin when Mal brought her back to the Isle in Descendants 2? Keep watching to find out about another barrier-related plot hole. The Smee twins. If there's one thing we love about the Descendants franchise, it's how we get to meet the descendants of some of our favorite Disney heroes and villains. We were so excited to meet the new VKs, especially since they were going to play a huge part in the threequel. But before we knew it, the movie was over, and we hardly got to see Smee's twin boys, Squeaky and Squirmy, in action. The boys spent most of the movie asleep and uttered all but 2 lines. We would have loved to see more of the new VKs. Do what you gotta do. We loved Hades and Mal's duet, but some of the lyrics just didn't make sense. Mal sings about her father not being there. She says, "Guess you don't have a phone. You never called to say I miss you." But this line fell flat considering the people of the Isle don't have any reception. According to Descendants Wiki, Wi-Fi and cell phone signals don't work on the Isle. Fairy Godmother had to make a special exception for the VKs to call home in D2, so Hades couldn't have called Mal even if he wanted to. The Evil Queen's daughter. The Evil Queen might be a danger to everyone, but Evie is proud to call her mom. Much like Maleficent, the Evil Queen has some powers of her own. Magic and witchcraft are her fortes, and she most definitely passed her powers down to Evie. But for some reason, Evie doesn't appear to have any powers in the DCOM movies. Mal and Uma combined their powers to save Auradon, but couldn't have Evie done the very same thing? Dude the dog crosses the barrier. Mal and her friends were able to defeat Uma and her pirates in Descendants 2 thanks to Dude the dog. Uma traded Ben for the wand after Mal proved it was authentic.
Hey, does anyone have some bacon? Cookies?
But in the end, it was all a trick. But wait, why is it that Dude was able to talk after crossing the barrier? Shouldn't his spell have been broken the second his paws touched down on the Isle of the Lost? Without this major plot hole, Mal would have never convinced Uma that the wand was the real deal. Why did Hades steal Mal's powers? Fans knew ahead of time that Hades would turn out to be Mal's dad, so most of us were confused when we saw him draining Mal's powers in the trailers. Hades hit Mal with a beam of blue magic right in the chest, and later on, Mal told her friends that he was draining her powers. However, Mal's powers never took a hit. At first, we figured that Hades didn't know that Mal was his daughter, but that just wasn't the case. So why did he drain her powers, and what did he do with them? Motorcycling Grandma. Audrey turns Mal into an old hag in Descendants 3. And Mal and her gang rush to the Isle to retrieve Hades' ember. Mal can barely move in her old woman's body. She's crouched down and needs help to walk. But next thing we know, Mal is wearing a tight leather outfit and riding her purple bike. Clearly, old hag Mal was in no shape to bike across the water. The missing apples. We loved Audrey's solo Queen of Mean, but we couldn't help but notice a case of the vanishing apples. During her solo, Audrey knocks a basket of apples to the floor, but when the scene cuts back, they're nowhere to be found. Museum security. Is it just us, or does the museum security guard deserve the boot? He was taking a nap despite Uma being on the loose, and Audrey snuck right by him. If Auradon had better security, Audrey would have never turned evil in Descendants 3. And that's a wrap. Did you notice any other plot holes in the Descendants franchise? Sound off in the comments. Subscribe to our channel and give this video a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on The Things.